After generating over $8 million in online sales and building my brand to over 650,000 followers across accounts and across platforms, I'm going to share with you the biggest lessons I've learned in marketing so far. Marketing 101 is make it easy for yourself. Find a market that is hungry. A starving crowd is always going to be the best possible thing you can look for in a market. Too many marketers start off on the wrong fit and are marketing a product that doesn't have product market fit. I learned this lesson a long time ago when I was working in a climate consulting firm. We created a piece of climate technology that on paper was amazing. It measured the sequestration rate of carbon dioxide, that is the rate at which carbon is absorbed from the atmosphere into the ground, at a temporal resolution, that's a time period resolution, of seconds. However, the market didn't need this. It was for carbon credit reporting, and reporting only needed to be pulled annually, at max quarterly, let alone in seconds. As a result, we had what I learned to call investor market fit. That's when you go and convince uneducated investors how great your product is. And they believe you because they ask you questions just about the product. They ask you about the technology, the machine learning model, the AI, and you can refute those questions by providing all of the answers. The question that they forgot to ask you is, does anyone actually want your product? Product market fit is the biggest determinant in the success of an early stage company. If you don't have product market fit, you have nothing else. And a marketer needs product market fit to be able to correctly market the product. The reason being is that marketing is all about tapping on pain points. It's about understanding why people are hungry and then speaking on that level of hunger. It's about being able to describe the feeling of that hunger, about the rumbling in your stomach, about the longingness for the calories that you want to consume. It's about the transformation of once you eat, how full, how satisfied, how content you will feel. The more you can articulate the amount of pain that someone is in when they are starving, when they haven't eaten in days, and all they want is that delicious, succulent bite from your product, the more you can describe that, the more effective your marketing becomes. People will buy from you when they can see the pain they experience today in your past. If you can illustrate that you were once in their shoes, you were once where they were, and you can take them on that journey from pain and suffering to victory and satisfaction, then you have great marketing, and you also have a starving crowd. The second learning along the way is that it is always better to start with organic rather than paid. I see paid and organic like renting and buying. Buying a house means that you put down money today and will get dividends paid over the future. It's an appreciating asset, which means over time, the more you invest into it, the more it appreciates. Whereas renting means that you have an outgoing expense. When you stop paying rent, you don't get to live in the house anymore. When your organic strategy is effective, even when you slow down on posting, you still have something to show with it, which is your organic audience that you have accumulated. You're essentially growing goodwill with an audience that you can later leverage for monetization. Organic media always needs to come first. If you can't get essentially free, willing eyeballs, why are you convinced that someone is going to buy your product if you push it in front of them? This is the pull and push of marketing. Organic is the greatest example of attraction level marketing, something that pulls the audience towards you and allows you to attract the right buyers to your product or service. Whereas push marketing is where you push the product or service in front of them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to buy, and it's a lot more expensive to push something than it is to pull something long term. Next is that you need to split the masses with your content. Ultimately, any successful person on social media is going to have some level of haters and some level of supporters. And the most successful often have the most haters as well. The reason being is that you need to create in-groups and out-groups, and we see this time and time again. Content being a great example of it, because under any viral post, the comment section is always alive with people either supporting it or hating it, or a combination of both. In-groups and out-groups have been around since the dawn of time. The reason being is that it allows us to categorize who is with us and who is against us. It's a very simple way for the brain to understand I am in my safe group or I am unsafe and being faced by an out-group. We see this all the time, and if we think about marketing, religions are some of the best marketeers ever, and they have incredibly clear in-groups and out-groups. There's clearly a division between who stands with you and who stands against you. Because of that, the brands behind these religions become so strong and so ingrained that people clearly understand the ethos of what it means to be Christian, or what it means to be Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist. All of these religions are connected by very clear in-groups and out-groups. This allows a sense of belonging when you are in the in-group. And one of the strongest things we look for as humans, given that that sense of belonging represents community and safety, because we have protection within our in-group. It also shows us a clear out-group, the stranger danger concept. It allows us to push away potential foes or aliens of people that we don't want to get close to. This is how our brain thinks on a very, very simple and evolutionary basis. When we use this in marketing, we need to think about, what does our brand do to bring people into my in-group, and what does it do to push people away? As an example of an in-group and out-group that I created while I was at Pure Body, the in-groups were things like whole foods, eating real food, full body style training, in-groups of minimum amounts of supplements, in-groups of natural solution and remedies, in-groups of using butter and ghee, in-groups of using fats, and out-groups of seed oils, ultra-processed food, sugary drinks, single body part, non-functional training. As a result, what it created is people that said, hey, you know what? Me too. I stand for full body training and I eat whole foods and I believe in this philosophy and brand that you are creating. This created in-groups to Pure Body. Even the name itself was meant to signal what it stood for. The out-groups meant that, yes, we polarized a few people who would have said, no, single body part's more effective, or if it fits your macros is the way forward, or seed oils are fine for you. But that's fine. We were never trying to market to those people anyway. You have to understand that in marketing, you are not going to be able to capture everyone. It is better to have a strongly convicted audience that are part of your in-group than a weak mass market appeal where you're trying to be something for everyone. Next is that storytelling is the pathway to trust. Storytelling allows you to open the window to trust to your audience. The best stories share some level of emotional vulnerability. It shows a window into your past. Remember that if your client can see the pain they're experiencing today in your past, they will buy from you. People ultimately buy people. And to understand you as a person, you have to dive into your past. You can build trust through these stories as long as you're willing to be vulnerable. People connect to vulnerability because it makes you relatable. As you let down your guard, so will they, and they will trust you. This is how we connect and trust people in real life as well. Once we have that conversation with a good friend who let us in on a deeper secret, once we related to that person a little bit more because they shared the same level of pain, trial, and tribulation as ourselves, it allows us to become closer to them. As we become closer to them and we understand them more as a person, we trust them more and will be more willing to buy from them. Your prospective clients and followers are no different. You are looking to build trust over everything else. Outside of just marketing, knowing your value as a business owner is incredibly important. Something I did very, very early on when I decided to take an entrepreneurial pursuit was value my time. I said my time is valued at a nominal rate of $100 an hour. Anything I could hire someone under that, I was willing to outsource. The reason being is because it was not worth my time to be doing these manual, tedious tasks. This meant that I quickly started hiring VAs from the Philippines, virtual assistants. I would upskill these VAs and write very detailed SOPs, that's standard operating procedures. These SOPs not only improved my business because it forced me to write processes behind everything I was doing, but it also helped them be better at their job. And I got more from their hours because they had clear direction. They weren't confused and lost. And this is a common mistake that people make when they hire people. Hiring someone doesn't mean you've outsourced the task. It means that you've outsourced the labor. The task is to now manage that person. The management of that person in the short term can sometimes be more time consuming and strenuous than just doing the task yourself. But this is about hiring and scaling as a business owner. The sooner you can realize that outsourcing labor unlocks time and freedom to work on more valuable parts of the business, the sooner your business will grow and scale. A marketing 101 is to master one channel. When I first started, I mastered Instagram. Short form media was the priority. I picked Instagram because it has a more educated buyer and more affluent buyer than TikTok and the other channels. That doesn't mean I didn't post on all of the other channels. Again, a laborious task that I outsourced to a VA. I post for Instagram, they download it and post for every other platform. But it meant that I was channeling all of my effort into one platform. This meant that I became an expert in this one platform. And then I decided to become omnipresent by going to long form. I knew that long form was a new game, so I ended up hiring my creative director, Pavan, to come in and help me scale to YouTube. I didn't require to be omnipresent to begin with, and nor should you. Focus on one channel. I recommend Instagram, or if you're going to go long form, YouTube, and get really good at that one platform. Only once it's working do you need to worry about being everywhere. When you first begin, just worry about that one platform and nailing it in its entirety. Next is a common mistake I see most people make. In marketing, you need one transformational promise. Sometimes we get overwhelmed with all the capabilities and things that we can do, and we try to be a transformation to everyone. Have one clear transformation. There's always going to be edge cases, but do not make your marketing for these edge cases. If your transformation is taking someone from skinny fat to ripped, then that is your transformation. You don't also need to appeal with the skinny to bulked or the overweight to shredded. Pick one transformational set, one set of pain points to address, and go after that relentlessly. On the same vein, once we have our core message and transformation, you can repurpose this 1,000 different ways. There is always a new angle and fresh look on the same idea. Repetition in your audience or your prospective client's mind is what builds your brand. If you want to see a live example of this, look at functional movement patterns. He harps on about the same stuff every single time, again and again, but from a fresh new angle and lens. The way that he does this is by taking new fads or new trends in the industry and then debunking them and bringing it back why functional movement patterns is on top. Granted, when you have such an emphasis on other people's content, there is some negative stigma with this as well, but doubling down on your core messaging is incredibly important. Another great example is Paul Saladino. It's the same concept again and again, repackaged in different ways to feel exciting and new. An unsurprising one in all marketing, but consistency is the greatest competitive advantage ever. This also transpires to everything across business and life. Consistency compounds. I'm sure you've heard that before, but in marketing and in content creation, it is no different. The consistency allows you to improve as a creator. The consistency is what allows you to end out on top. If you can stay at it longer and continuously improve, you are going to be in the best position to win. Controlling the inputs, aka creating content every day and getting better at the art of content creation, getting better at your visual, verbal, or written storytelling, and better understanding your own USP, unique selling proposition, and ICP, your ideal client profile, is what is going to allow you to end up on top. An important one is to train skills that do not expire. When I talk about training skills that do not expire, get really good at copywriting, at speaking on camera, at sales and sales calls, at leadership, and at offer creation. Those 5 fundamental skills will set you apart in any business. If all of my accounts were to go offline tomorrow, I know that I could easily get a job in any marketing firm in the world or any business in the world that requires marketing or client acquisition, because I have acquired the skills of copywriting, of piece to camera, sales and persuasion techniques, leadership, and offer creation. Those are incredibly valuable and transferable skills in any business. Copywriting is the ability to understand the prospective client's pain. What are they going through today? What is that lead feeling at this very moment in time? And how can I articulate it back to them in their own voice? Speaking on camera is going to help you wherever you go. Whether you're speaking to camera or standing on a stage, the ability to communicate and articulate your ideas clearly is going to separate you from everyone else. We are verbal communicators as humans, and it's what separates us from every other species. The ability to communicate with each other, to have shared ideas and stories, is what allows us to build societies, skyscrapers, and nations to the scale that they are today. This is the ability to communicate en masse. Other species cannot do this. And to be valued in a human society is to become a great communicator. Sales is a fundamental skill that you can cross over into every part of your life. You're selling yourself in a job interview. You're selling yourself to your partner. You're selling yourself to people every single day. And you're also being sold to be able to identify it and recognize when you're being sold, upsold, downsold is an important skill and will help you dramatically in life. Leadership has so many different qualities which spill into every part of your life. Leadership isn't always being the CEO or the boss. Leadership is about understanding how to lead and motivate people around you and how to understand the dynamic of having a leader and working in with that leader as well. One of my favorite lessons from Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, is his first. Never outshine their master. Understanding the relationship with the master is one of the greatest things that you can do, and one of the first lessons on leadership that I learned. Lastly is offer creation. If you understand how to build a Grand Slam offer, that is, understand what that end desired state is, multiplied by the perceived likelihood that you are to achieve it over time delay and the effort and sacrifice to get there, then you are going to be able to build fantastic, irresistible offers to your audience. If you can build an irresistible offer, you will have a great match to any starving crowd. You will have the bread that they desire, and it'll be incredibly easy for you to sell your product, making your marketing and sales one hell of a lot easier. Prioritizing skills that won't expire is crucial because of the speed and rate that technology is developing. We see this time and time again, that the algorithm is changing. There are new social media platforms that will surface. And if we have these skills that do not expire, we will still remain valuable in any market condition. In marketing or business more widely, we should be focused on LTV. That is the lifetime value of a customer. They may come in today on a smaller package, but as long as it's the right package, we will give ourselves an opportunity to bring them into the next package. This is something I am incredibly big of. It's not about overselling a package and putting them on the highest, most expensive premium one because the cash collected is high today. It's about identifying what are the core problems that we can solve for them and how can we get them easy wins in the next 7 to 30 days. The sooner we can understand this, the sooner we can serve that client, gain more trust on the inside, and then pitch the upsell when they are ready for it. This is about increasing LTV, lifetime value of the customers. This hedges off the concept of you do not need hundreds of thousands of customers. If you serve the right ones correctly, they will stay with you for life. This is about stepping up the value ladder. That is, what problems do we solve today? And then once we have solved them, what are the problems we can solve for them tomorrow? You never want to be thinking, how do I solve the problems in the immediate term? You want to be thinking, how do I solve this over 6 to 12 months? And how do I continue evolving my offer to make sure that it's fit for these clients as they come? I've seen this in Amplify where we've taken people to first grow their following. Then they need help monetizing their following. Then once we successfully monetize their following, they're looking around and going, hey, I'm doing 40 to 50K a month now. I need a proper backend and CRM system. So we build that to them with STS. Then they need sales personnel. So we help them find setters and closers. They need VAs. I have a VA placement agency. Then they need a creative director because they want to expand onto long form. We put them through Future Creator to make sure their content is now across multiple platforms. Each step of the way, there is a value ladder and a value equation, which we are assessing. What are the problems today? Once we solve those, what are the problems tomorrow? And then what are the problems over the next 6 and 12 months? If you are there every step of the way, you're going to drive your LTV and your lifetime value of the customer goes up. It's not just about finding new customers. It's about how do you continue serving your existing ones. This is what makes your experience so good that clients never want to leave. These were some of the lessons that I covered in terms of my marketing and business journey. If you want to learn how to attract an audience of buyers, then I'm going to leave a link to that video here.